My name is KJ Garrett, and today I decided to do my video presentation over Chapter 9 about education. The reason I chose this chapter because I'll be going to the education field like within my career. And within my career, I want to be a math teacher and a coach. I want to start at the middle school level, then work my way up to high school. Because the reason I want to start at the middle school is because that's the most important part of like learning mathematics to me. And then one thing I liked about the chapter was about self-efficacy and how it plays an important role in a student's like confidence complete their task. It's like if a student has if they have high confidence, then they would feel like much more better approaching their task than versus if they had like 50-50 confidence. Like, I'm not sure if I should do this. I'm not sure if I shouldn't. I'm gonna just do it because. Then at that point, they're already harming like their possible success. They're already putting like a limit on it. Because if they go half into it, they won't put much effort, which means they won't get the results as they would if they had 100% confidence. Also, the thing I like is metacognitive monitoring. How some students can be overconfident and overconfident. And it kind of stood out to me how like sometimes the poorest performers are the most overconfident. And that's because, quick example, one time taking an exam, I didn't study for it. I just felt like I can just go in and it was a multiple choice exam and I can guess the right answer. And so as I'm taking the exam, as I was going through, I would make the best guess, and it's like I thought I chose the best answer, which was the correct answer. And then when I got my results back, I seen that I would leave the class thinking I probably made like a 90 or so. Like I felt very confident, like my guesses were that good. But in all reality, I get the test back and probably made like a 60 or a 70 because I didn't know the information, but I felt that educated guess at the time was the best one. And it really wasn't so educated because I didn't study for it. And then also I like how changing your answers, how most of your answers you change them from incorrect to correct. And sometimes when you're taking a test and like when you really study for it, and once you go back and think about like the answer that you chose and like is it correct, then you will go think, oh, okay. So you can see like sometimes like you will erase the incorrect answer, then you'll change it to the correct answer. You'll thank yourself after you did it versus not doing it, but like I knew I should have changed it. And then also another thing that I liked was how in reading it says the most successful readers are readers who read with a purpose, readers who read with like who want to understand the text, who want to get something out of the text. Those are the most successful readers versus people who just read because it's an assignment. Sometimes they might not catch certain errors because they're only just reading just to complete the task. They're not just reading to understand. And then also I like how in mathematics it said like some students do not stop, like they just keep going, and like as they're going, like they are getting nowhere. Like they said the most important thing to ask in mathematics is, am I making progress? Which is correct. With taking a lot of math classes, I've learned that if I do not stop and ask myself, am I getting somewhere? Then I will be getting nowhere, because at the same time, like when I think that I'm making progress, I'm just prolonging my success because I need to stop and ask myself. And then also they said another part was that how if you stop and ask yourself, then the successful mathematicians, they just took a different approach, and so that would change their approach, that would change their thinking ways. And then also and then that was it for what I really stuck out to me in the text. And another thing is one of the articles that Global Perspectives that I found was this interesting study in Australia, and in this environment the students were all like high level achievers, like they all made successful grades. And a reason how they did this because they always asked for help before, during, after class. I feel like if that is normalized in today's society, then students will be way more successful, because most students don't want to get asked questions in class. They don't want to get help because it's not seen as being cool, quote unquote. And so also the teachers noticed that these type of students have an open mindset, and like they cared about their learning, and then they also charted their progress. I feel like because in high school I graduated honors, so and to do that I will always care about what I learned. I will always care about my grades. And so I feel like the more passionate you have, the more successful you will be. So it will kind of help me as an educator to help create that passion in my students to where they want to be successful. And then also, so the teacher kind of wanted the students to be more independent than versus always coming and asking for help. And so the teacher came up with this thing called an exit ticket example. I can't flip my camera, so I have to kind of explain it like this. And so the ticket example is it has 3 colors. This one's red, this one's yellow, this one's green. And under the red it says, today my learning stopped because today I considered the question a new idea or perspective, and today I understood and learned. And the part where metacognition takes a very big place is at the yellow, because that's when the student does reflective thinking. Like that's when like the student is confused, but they're not confused. So they go back and think on, okay, what don't I understand? What do I need to understand? And where am I going with this? And so when students do that, then they're setting themselves up for success because they actually have a goal, like a goal plan, and then that also like points out the things they need help on and what they actually like understand. And then within this book, I found that how it said the four important processes to mathematics was understanding the problem, planning solution, carry out the problem, reviewing the procedure, and outcome. And math, that is very important because first you have to look at, when you look at the problem, you have to be like, do I understand the problem? And if you understand it, then you plan a solution by saying, what technique will I use to solve this? What method would I use to help me solve this problem? And then once you pick a method, you have to carry out that method. And then the review part, you have to go back, you have to look and see, okay, is everything correct? Did I do my procedure right? Did I skip a step? So that's how, like, and when me want to have the aspiration to be a math teacher, I want to highlight those 4 principles into mathematics. And then also I like how in this book it pointed out that cognitive process develop with age. Like when students are young, sometimes they don't understand. Like they don't know to read with a purpose. Like a 2nd grader doesn't know to read to, oh, I'm reading like to enhance my learning. But when you get older, like for example, the age I'm at now, I'm starting to get to where I want to read more books. I want to read more books and to enhance my knowledge and also enhance my vocabulary. Because the more you read, the bigger your vocabulary is, which I'm becoming a very big advocate for that. And then also, I like how it says that students enhance their own learning by becoming aware of their own thinking. And then once a student is actually able to like control their thinking and then help get processes and help come up with techniques to understand their thinking and to better their thinking and to better their ways, then that's when the student is more successful. And so, and then also I have my references right here as well. This was the article, and this was the book, and no, this was the book, and then these were my 2 articles. I'm sorry I couldn't flip the camera so you can see my references, but there they are. Thank you all for watching my video.